Is being Delulu really the Salulu?
Let's find out together.
Hi, my name is Jhaynane. I'm a divorced single mom, and at 36, I decided to start my life over. Why? Because I'm following my dreams of starring in my own TV show and becoming a published author. So I'm putting everything on the line to follow my crazy idea.
I currently have a little bit over $100 in my account.
But I have faith and I believe in myself, and I know anything is possible. So join me as I hit the reset button on my life and walk the road to my new beginnings. What if nobody can love me as I am? What if they see me, all of me? What if I'm damaged goods? What if no one wants this? He didn't want me. What if I open myself up again? What if... This summer was the first time I got fucked in 4 years. I only got divorced a year ago, by the way. I hooked up with this random Australian guy. We had a fun night of making out, and then he came over and ate my pussy like it was his last meal. We fucked. I fell asleep. When I woke up, he was gone. And for a brief moment, I felt disappointment. And there it was, my anxious attachment. It took me a moment to realize that it was my wounded child speaking. And after calming her, I reminded her that it wasn't a mistake. That night happened for a reason. It showed us something we needed, a reminder of what we really craved: intimacy, not just sex. And just like that, my disappointment disappeared, and I replaced it with something better, a new perspective. And that's what you call a mindset shift. Now, time to grab coffee with my roommate Jaya. I am producing her web series through my production company, Full Stream Productions.
I already do these in debt.
Me too.
You should fuck up. Okay?
You know what I did?
What?
The same thing that you have to do.
What?
Text someone and go get it.
Girl, the only person I can get it from, you're like, no, don't do it. I'm not-
Don't do it. No,
Yeah.
look, I am not opposed. No. I'm only opposed because you're worried about getting attached. And I don't want you attached to that guy.
Right,
That's why I don't want you to do it.
right.
You weren't worried about getting attached? Go get your man. Ew. But,
Well, that's my problem. Maybe it's an unconscious fear that I'm thinking of my past self getting attached.
what do you think drives your attachment? Like, what makes you get attached to people?
Other than the biochemical aspect of it all.
Yes.
Because, once I get to that good dick, I'm like, I love you.
Yes, very much not including that part. Yeah, because that's also all a little bit psychosomatic, right? So what's the psycho?
Now I'm a little psycho.
Introspecto.
Honestly, if you really want to go there with me, that's the only time I was shown that I was ever wanted.
Okay.
And it goes back to my molestation at 5 years old. That's the only attention that I received from people. So I associate sex with bonding.
How does that feel?
Not great.
Do you feel like you and I are bonded?
Yes.
Obviously not in the same way.
Hell no, no. No. Yuck.
Okay.
No face, no.
I know what you mean,
Yes.
but
Like, you're like my little sister.
yes, because same, but
Yes.
but what I'm saying is when you were with Chow, did that bond feel good?
Absolutely not.
That attachment? And did you really feel wanted?
No.
So I'm just trying to help you challenge that perception, is all.
I know.
I'm not saying that you're that you should do it, or you're in a place
Yeah.
to do it. But what I'm trying to say is, I can tell you plenty of other times where you have been wanted just from spending time with you and other people coming up and showing you that.
Right.
And you can tell me that even when you were in it, you didn't actually feel wanted,
Right.
which means it's a perception that you have that has already been debunked, but it's so deeply rooted in you that you haven't like consciously thought through it that way,
Right. And also, there's that anxious attachment aspect where, because I was so emotionally neglected, that I chase people who don't want me. And that's another reason why I'm not going to go chase after him. You know, I'll be using him for sex.
He only stopped wanting you after you stopped wanting him. Or after he realized you didn't want him. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
Like, the way that your conversations, interactions and everything were very clearly he was interested.
Yeah, he wants sex.
And which theoretically is also what you wanted,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But he didn't back off until you gave him the energy or made it pretty clear that you weren't, because you said, no, I'm celibate, no, I'm not doing that, everything else. He
Yeah.
didn't back off until you made it clear that he was not wanted in that way.
Shut up.
So, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you're in a place where you thought about it consciously enough that, like, yeah, totally go jump into having whatever sex with everyone. But when that perception comes to mind, give yourself a second to challenge it so that you can start to undo that thought process.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I pay my therapist a lot, so I should be able to at least give you some advice.
Right.
Like,
But here's the thing also, like, in my 20s, I fucked so many people. There's no shame in that. You know,
there's no shame in it. I just didn't.
that actually, I don't think I've ever had good sex. I mean, I had good sex, but it's never been like good sex. You know what I mean?
Like emotional, intimate,
Yeah,
soul bonding the way you think it should be.
exactly. I've had good fucks, but never great sex.
I would argue that it's more so the love part of being in love. The sex, the fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the emotional aspect.
And I think I'm tired of fucking. Because even with Chop, sorry, even with my ex-husband, it was more fucking.
So, going back to that exactly, how...
You know, sorry, not to cut you off. I think I know what I want.
Okay.
I want to make love.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck. And if I were to, I mean, I still want some gym pussy.
Sure.
But I want much more than
Yes.
that. And that's why I'm trying to hold off. Even though my body is like, please, I want to get fucked.
Your body wants an orgasm.
Yes.
You can get yourself an orgasm.
It's not the same. It's not the same. I've been doing that for how many years now? I'm tired of it.
Like, you remember Desert 5? The first time? That was ridiculous.
That was hilarious.
It was insane.
Yeah.
You are wanted, desired, desirable,
Right.
right? Gotta remember that.
You're right.
I know, that's not
It's not until I said, nah, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
But you know what you did do, and you have already acknowledged this, you went with the other guy because it was much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still a good fuck, though. No,
Sure. But your ego wasn't at risk with this.
Right.
Terror. Are you scared of getting attached to the wrong person, or are you scared of snakes? Ooh.
I already cried on camera so many times. I'm afraid of allowing somebody in. Yeah. That's what I'm really afraid of. Allowing somebody in. So I'd rather do it myself and alone than allow anybody.
Except you wouldn't.
I know.
And I understand because vulnerability is not mine.
Right.
But I think the right person would make you right. You might just have to wait for that. So you have had some pretty negative experiences in love.
Yeah.
You know, your ex sucked. She's not a good partner anymore, right? He wasn't a good husband. He wasn't a good father. He's been a much better father than something, which is great to like see him grow into that.
Right.
But you also have to be there for that to happen.
Right. First, I want somebody to see me the way I am now. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm surprised that like dressing up and shit. Cause I don't know for that. But yeah, no big deal. But having somebody see me, it's just that's like scary as fuck.
You know that I would love to look like you. This isn't even the first time. This is the first time I've said it to you. It's not the first time I thought it. You know, right? Like your uncomfortable, bigger than it used to be body is a body type that I would love to have. I know it's much easier said than done.
Yeah.
And you ended up in a relationship with someone who couldn't honor you or praise you or worship you or whatever in the ways that you were supposed to. And so you have a lot of unlearning and reloving yourself to do because he couldn't do it for you.
You know, maybe getting fucked would be a good idea. I need a lot of worship.
You can't heal everything on your own, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the reasons that I stopped seeing, I'm going to keep going with Santa Claus, but one of the reasons that I stopped seeing, and it's not because of what he looks like, it's
Girl.
because he gave me all the things that I wanted.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Just to be clear. But I started sleeping with him. Certainly wasn't at my smallest anymore, but I was much closer to it. Right? I was probably 20 pounds lighter than I am right now, maybe more. Who knows? I don't weigh myself. I haven't since 2019 because I can't mentally handle it, and I go back to eating 90 calories a day, which will kill me. But it was one of the reasons where I started getting bigger. I was like, I can't keep seeing him because I need to cut this off before he cuts it off for that reason.
Right.
Because I will not recover from it.
Right.
I really don't think he was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And we really do it to ourselves. And so in talking to him again at the size that I am now, which is bigger than I was 2 years ago when I stopped sleeping with him in the first place, is scary, but I think is also going to be healing it, unless it goes horribly wrong. He's like, oh, ew, right? In which case, probably have to pay for even more therapy than I'm currently paying for. But assuming that's not what's going to happen, then I get to heal from that in a way that I never could have on my own. So in a lot of ways, you do need somebody else to assist you through that, which is also why when you get into relationships, you unlock a whole new set of issues that you need to resolve. Because like, I can believe I'm beautiful all I want, but if I've never heard it from another person, then hearing it from another person is going to still influence me in some way.
Yeah, it's not
right
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way we go through life is not just about how we see ourselves. It is very much about how other people see us. That's because of social media. That's because people are bullies and have way too many opinions. But regardless, the way you see yourself is not the only thing that matters. I can know or feel pretty or whatever. And if nobody is telling me that though, eventually I'm going to be like, well, is this anything? You know?
Right.
Like if you don't hear it elsewhere. Right. So I do think it could be, especially for saying it's been 7 years since you've had something good. Right. Like I really do wonder how influential that could be for you in healing and to see that other people love you for where you are, because your ex couldn't really love you properly at any point.
Right.
Yeah. Now that's not to say it's worth it to do it to get attached to one person just so you're nice things about yourself. That's not what I'm saying at all. But once you're able to move past that fear and everything else, I think it can kind of close the loop on that healing for you.
Yeah. So if I were to sleep with somebody again, I would need to feel safe.
For me, this is why I think I'm comfortable reigniting with Santa Claus, is I was attached to him.
Yeah.
But I was securely attached to him. I wasn't, and I don't experience secure attachment very often. I was very securely attached to him. I think it was just something about the way he was. I think it's the fact that we were playing into that traditional like dom sub relationship type, and so it was his job to make sure that I felt reassured all the time. But I think that led to a very secure attachment. I knew I was going to hear from him at least once or twice a month. I knew what our routine was going to look like. I felt good about what we were doing. He always made sure I was taken care of. I felt very safe with him.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me that it was part of this much larger poly relationship, because it allowed me to go off and do other things with people who are my own age and other stuff and keep dating and exploring that side. But I was getting attention and whatever, like in sex that I hadn't had before. And I think that was really important for me to know. I did not realize that I could have an orgasm from penetration until I slept. But it gave me a different viewpoint into what sex and relationships and everything else would be like. And we had a very intimate, vulnerable relationship where I felt very comfortable telling him about things about myself, things that I, was insecure about, whatever else. And so now that I'm kind of trying to, let's get back on the horse, so to speak, I feel like I could tell him all of these things that I'm worried about, and he would make sure that they were addressed and taken care of, and would help with the partner healing maneuver of things that I need. And I also think it would just you get back into the habit of flirting, of getting to a routine of talking to someone, all that other stuff. Something about that secure attachment. Like, I did not want to marry him and have babies or any of those things, but I really enjoyed the fact that I knew every morning he was going to make us coffee and we would go on his porch and we would just talk and learn a little bit more about each other before we went to work. And something about that routine, especially after all of the things from the night before, was very much like, I can be every single part of myself and still have somebody who wants to sit with me the next morning.
Right.
And continue a relationship. Because we did some depraved shit. Right? So anyway.
I think that's my other fear, is that the man will fuck me and then just go straight home. I hate that shit. I don't want that shit.
Gotta tell him straight up at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not doing this. Well, I mean, if you wanted to look for a dom, I think that could do you good. Because it's not about the dominance, it's about the active caring.
And I think that's what,
right?
Yeah.
It's about, did you drink enough water today? Why didn't you drink enough water today? Why aren't you taking care of yourself?
Right.
You matter. You need to be taking care of yourself. And having somebody so emphatically emphasize that to you all the time, to the point where they're willing to punish you for not taking care of yourself, is relax.
No, that's not hot.
I know, but I know, but to the point where they're willing to do that is oh, I really do need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And it reinforces this self-love in a way that I have not experienced before. It's very fascinating. It's very interesting. I really recommend you look into it, actually.
To new beginnings. Cheers.
On my way home from my conversation with Jaya, I was thinking, can you really separate sex from intimacy? In my opinion, sex is inherently an intimate act. We humans crave touch and connection, but fear often leads some of us to separate the two. Instead, many use sex to fill a void within themselves, hoping that a fleeting encounter can suffice. And it does, temporarily. I think many people are searching for intimacy, but are too afraid to admit it. Some chase it, while others flee from it. Yet both desire it, expressing their trauma in different ways. As for me, I'm done chasing. I want true intimacy, and I'm willing to wait until I find it. So until then, it'll just be me, myself, and I.